have with us this morning our new president of Lincoln College, Dr. Jonathan Astroth. Dr. Astroth comes to us with great credentials. He's had a very, very successful run as president of Heartland Community College. And now he stepped from the community stage into the private college stage. So welcome, Dr. Astroth. We're glad to have you with us this morning.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Gossett. It's a pleasure to be here and a pleasure to be in Atlanta and Lincoln both.
Well, and you are.
Yes.
Yes, so you are. You know, we were talking in the car on the way up about Jim White from Lincoln, who's been on that board since Heartland was
founding
just
board.
A little tiny pea in somebody's mind.
That's right.
You know.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't think at that time did they have anything. Did they have a building? Did they have a book?
Not really. Yeah, it was in a place called Landmark Mall in Bloomington, right between Chuck E. Cheese's and Morning Star Methodist Church. It was
there you go.
a college about the size of this radio studio. And you're right. Mr. White's been aboard since the very first day. So,
yes,
yeah.
yes. Well, he really was behind this, and I bet that Jim is very pleased to see how it's grown, because it's grown exponentially, hasn't it?
Well, I think Jim has seen it from the Chuck E. Cheese days all the way through a trip to China, because that college now has some partnerships in China, and I was pleased to go to China with Jim and his wife Phyllis. All the way to a full campus today, so he's seen the whole thing, and I think, yeah, Jim's thrilled. And let me just add how important I think it is from Heartland Community College standpoint that Lincoln is represented on the Board of Trustees. There's no necessary, that's not a necessary outcome. It could be that the whole board, since it's an elected board, would come from Bloomington Normal. The college, in my judgment, has been fortunate to have a representative from Pontiac, which is the kind of the north end of the district, and one from Lincoln in the south end of the district throughout its history. I just think that makes for a stronger college.
What year was it that the legislature decided in its infinite wisdom that there was no more backing out?
Yeah.
You will be a part of a junior college district, and you will be happy.
Well, like many things the state does, there were 2 or 3 times they said
Oh, they forgot they said it before.
Yeah, they got serious though in 1990 because that area of the state was not affiliated with a community college district, and they basically said either form your own or join an existing one.
Right.
And then that came about in the fall of 1990.
Okay, so we are part of Heartland.
That's correct. That's correct.
Of course, and it's been a better thing than some of us had thought it might be. You know, you just get, even if it's a good idea, we Americans, and especially we old people, don't like to be. I was thinking about myself. Don't like to be told all the time, and this is what you'll do now, and this is how it will be, and it will cost you this much.
Yeah.
And we keep getting mandates with nothing to back it up from a checkbook, you know. Yeah. And so we get to thinking, well, by George, you know, we were pretty happy here.
Yeah.
But it worked. It did.
Yeah, it was really the last piece of what was called the statewide master plan for higher education, and it basically said every citizen of the state will have a community college within a 20 or 30-minute drive of their home. That didn't exist in this area, and so that's where the pressure built. That master plan has been around since the 1960s. It just took until 1991 to complete it with the formation of Heartland. There were other little pieces of the state that were in a similar situation. The Jacksonville, Illinois area and the Waukegan area were outside of community college districts, and at the same time Heartland was formed, they were annexed to existing community college districts.
I don't know of all those towns, but I know Jacksonville has 2 colleges.
Right.
Lincoln has 2 colleges.
Right.
Maybe that's why those areas thought that maybe they didn't, 2 was probably sufficient.
I think you're exactly right, and I would characterize that as probably the single largest misunderstanding about the difference between let's use Heartland as an example. Heartland, Illinois State, and Illinois Wesleyan, because when I came to Heartland, I encountered almost daily, well, we have Illinois State and Illinois Wesleyan, why would we need a community college too? And if you look at who the community college serves, who Illinois Wesleyan serves, and who Illinois State serves, you see quite clear differences. And so I think that is how, in Jacksonville's case, in Bloomington Normal's case, and in other cases around the state, that community colleges don't take students, don't compete for students with the local universities or the local four-year institutions. So in Heartland's case, there were new people going into higher education, entering higher education that had not been served in the past. So it was more like a rising tide than it was a zero-sum game where ISU had this group of students and the community college had to peel off some of them, or Illinois Wesleyan had some students that the community college peeled off.
But by virtue of the fact that both Heartland and Lincoln are colleges, there must be similarities. What do you feel that that you're privileged to bring with you from Heartland, learning from your years of its growth?
I think one of the important things that I learned was the reaching out to the community in which the college resides. I think that's very important for a community college or a private junior college like Lincoln College. I was glad to hear Mr. Gossett describe the program where Lincoln College students do tutoring in the community. There are other forms of that I think the college could do. So I've talked with staff about that. In Lincoln College's case, there's no geographic boundary served by the institution, though 90+% of the students come from the state of Illinois, many from the Chicago area. In Heartland's case, or any public community college's case, they have a geographic boundary, so they serve only those students in that geographic boundary. I think the work that community colleges do and Lincoln College does is arguably the most important work in higher education, because you are taking students who perhaps have not been the most successful in high school, for whom education hasn't been a passionate part of their life yet, and giving them an opportunity. And Lincoln, with its incredible history, and even Heartland during its short time, have just powerful stories of students whose lives were transformed by having had that opportunity. As I like to say, it's one thing to teach at Harvard, where all the straight A students come in, and if you just get out of their way, they're going to be successful. I mean, they're going to succeed any place.
In spite of.
They're going to succeed any place. I think Lincoln has a different mission and does more difficult and more important work in taking students who aren't going to succeed just any place and giving them what they need to become successful.
But you do have a measure of kids who are called commuters, who live not just in Lincoln, but in Logan County and just around us, and they come back and forth. They may not live in the dorms,
right,
but they're an integral part of it, and they many times are kids that are going to get a four-year degree and maybe more, but they either decided they weren't quite ready to leave home yet,
right,
or it was just decided that it would be best if you tried this first.
Sure. Yeah. Well, community colleges and Lincoln College is an example, I think, afford students that kind of opportunity. That's part of being, I think, responsive to community needs. So there needs to be an academic schedule that allows the commuting student to access the institution, classes at night or classes in the afternoon. Or so for a student who's living at home, maybe working part-time and wants to, if you will, sample higher education and decide whether this is for me or not, and where are my interests, I think that's a vital function of our kind of institution. And so you'll see me over the course of my time at Lincoln College continue continue to explore whether we're meeting the needs of those students adequately, because that's an important role. With the cost of higher education going up and up and up and up, I think many students choose to live at home for a year or two, to stay near their home for their first year of college or two, and then decide whether they want to continue. So we need to be responsive to the needs of those kinds of students.
I'd like to read mention the adult education factor on the Normal campus. We've got some great people up there.
Absolutely, and the Normal campus has a slightly different mission, in that while they serve traditional students who might come to the campus at Lincoln, their major focus is more on the adult student. And as you know, the ABE program, the Accelerated Bridge to Education, is just that, an accelerated program for adults, helping them to complete their bachelor's degree. And I know in talking with the staff at the Normal campus that they anticipated perhaps 70 students in that program, and there's almost 300 now. So that tells me, and as I sat down the street at Heartland about 5 years ago and watched that program develop, I thought Lincoln College had really hit the bullseye with that program, and it's that's proving to be true. So many students in the Bloomington Normal area, I think, are let's use State Farm as an example because they're the largest employer. Working at State Farm, they have some college but not a bachelor's degree. They're the type of adult you mentioned that recognizes, for me to continue to advance in my employment, I have to have a bachelor's degree, yet I can't give up my job and go to Illinois State or Illinois Wesleyan, or I can't abandon my family and go in residence at one of the universities. I have to do this on a different kind of a schedule. The ABE program fits that perfectly, and so I think we will continue to see that program grow. I'm excited about that program. We just signed an agreement with Illinois Valley Community College in Oglesby, Illinois, to provide the ABE program on their campus for adults who are similarly situated in the LaSalle, Peru, Oglesby area and are looking to get a bachelor's degree in an accelerated format on a schedule that makes sense for them. There's no reason that program can't be exported broadly in this state. Other institutions do similar things, but I think we do it particularly well. I think we have a natural connection to the community colleges around the state. Some of my experiences with community colleges, I think, can help in that regard. So staff and I have been talking about how can we expand that program.
The other day there was a statistic that I heard that I thought probably made sense. They were talking about having statistics across the board, that it seems that someone with a college education makes an average of $25,000 a year more than someone who has a high school education.
Right.
And I bet that's the darn truth.
Oh, absolutely. We used to have a statistic that in lifetime earnings, an associate's degree is worth about $415,000. A bachelor's degree is more on the order of $600,000 or $700,000 in your working lifetime. So that's probably the $25,000 a year times about a 30-year working horizon that accounts for that. So not only that, I think that number is going to grow because the workforce now demands more and more education. I spent some time in southern Illinois where all the coal mines are, and it used to be true that a young man could graduate from high school, get a job in a coal mine, buy himself a pickup truck and a bass boat, and everything was fine. And that was the end of the world down there. Those jobs are hard to come by anymore. If you work on the factory floor at Mitsubishi in Normal, you better have post-secondary education. And the machines are that sophisticated, the processes are that sophisticated. So I think continuing your education is a fact of life in the employment world.